Imagine it's the 1970s. You're lying on shag carpeting, flipping through a Sears catalog, circling toys for your birthday list. Your TV is tuned to Happy Days or the Brady Bunch, but you'll have to get up and turn the dial manually if you want to change the channel. Outside, neighborhood kids are zooming by on banana seat bikes, and inside, your mom is warning you not to slam the avocado green fridge door. It was a decade of bell-bottoms, disco fever, drive-in movies, and free-range childhoods. If you grew up in the 70s, you remember a world before technology took over, a time when kids stayed out until the streetlights came on, and the only way to stream music was by dropping the needle on a vinyl record. Let's take a groovy trip down memory lane and revisit the unforgettable experiences of growing up in the 1970s, toys and games. When simple was best. Back before video games took over, kids played outside with toys that required imagination. You had your trusty big wheel, which made you feel invincible as you skidded down sidewalks. The Slinky never quite made it down the stairs as smoothly as the commercial showed, but we still tried. And Rock'em Sock'em Robots? Nothing felt better than making the blue or red boxer's head pop up in victory. Did you spend hours trying to master the art of clacking those dangerous clackers without bruising yourself? Fashion. Loud, proud, and polyester. If the 60s were groovy, the 70s were bold. Everything was loud. Bell-bottoms with wild floral prints, platform shoes that made you taller and clumsier, and tube tops that you had to keep adjusting to avoid a wardrobe malfunction. Meanwhile, every dad had at least one plaid leisure suit, and let's not forget the infamous corduroy pants that made a swooshing sound as you walked. Vinyl, 8-tracks, and boogie fever. Before Spotify, we had record players and 8-tracks. You'd carefully drop the needle onto a Bee Gees or Fleetwood Mac album and hope it didn't skip. If you wanted to listen to a song on repeat, too bad. You had to rewind and guess when to stop. And then there was disco. Love it or hate it. You couldn't escape Donna Summer, KC and the Sunshine Band, or ABBA playing on every radio station. Who else remembers trying to record songs off the radio, only to have the DJ talk over the intro? TV and movies, when you had to plan your viewing. In the days before streaming, TV was an event. You'd rush home to catch Happy Days, Charlie's Angels, or MASH, because if you missed it, you were out of luck until the reruns. Saturday mornings belonged to cartoons. Scooby-Doo, Fat Albert, and the Super Friends were weekend staples. And movie theaters? You had to actually go to one, sit through the coming attractions, and stay put because there was no pause button. School life, the age of simplicity. There were no laptops or tablets in classrooms, just pencil cases, trapper keepers, and scratch and sniff stickers as rewards from the teacher. If you were lucky, your school had a film strip projector, and you'd hear that iconic beep when it was time to change slides. And of course, recess was all about tetherball, kickball, or seeing how high you could swing before jumping off. The great outdoors, free-range kids, and no helmets. Kids of the 70s didn't stay inside unless it was raining. You rode bikes for miles, drank straight from the hose, and played outside until the streetlights came on. Playgrounds had metal slides that got scorching hot, and jungle gyms were basically broken bones waiting to happen. Yet we survived. Did you ever ride in the back of a station wagon with no seatbelt, just rolling around while your parents drove? Food and snacks. The birth of junk food culture. The 70s introduced us to Tang, Tab soda, and TV dinners in aluminum trays. Jell-O salads with mystery ingredients were strangely popular, and every house had a fondue pot for special occasions. Meanwhile, kids devoured space food sticks, Pop Rocks, and bottle caps, malls, drive-ins, and roller rinks. Before Amazon, shopping meant heading to Sears, JCPenney, or a local department store, where you'd browse catalogs at home before visiting in person. On weekends, Families packed into station wagons for drive-in movies, and roller skating rinks were the place to see and be seen. Did you ever beg for a ride to the roller rink, just to show off your best moves under the disco ball? Penny candy and the joy of the corner store. Walking into a local 5 and dime or drugstore meant one thing: candy. With just a few coins, you could get a whole bag of Pixie Sticks, Mary Janes, Tootsie Rolls, Laffy Taffy, and Chico Sticks. And remember the thrill of picking out candy from a wooden barrel or glass display case? CB radios and the rise of Breaker 19. Culture. Long before cell phones, CB radios were how people communicated on the road, and kids loved pretending to be part of it. Whether your parents had one in the family station wagon or you had a toy version at home, we all wanted a cool handle like Roadrunner or Lil Bandit. Do you remember trying to talk into the CB radio, hoping to hear a trucker respond? Waterbeds and lava lamps, the coolest bedroom trends. A 70s bedroom wasn't complete without a lava lamp bubbling away, and, if you were really lucky, a waterbed. They felt futuristic at the time, but if you moved too much, it felt like sleeping on an ocean wave. And let's not forget the glow-in-the-dark blacklight posters covering the walls. Paper route hustle, the original side gig. Many kids in the 70s had their first job as a paperboy or papergirl, waking up at the crack of dawn, slinging newspapers over their shoulders, and biking through the neighborhood in all kinds of weather. The best part? That little envelope of cash at the end of the week are Evel Knievel and the Daredevil generation. The 70s made Evel Knievel a household name, and every kid with a bike wanted to be just like him, attempting to jump ramps made from bricks and plywood, often with disastrous results. If you were lucky, you had the Evel Knievel stunt cycle toy to perform safer, miniature jumps. Saturday afternoon kung fu and monster movies. Before we had endless streaming, Saturday afternoons were filled with kung fu theater and classic monster movies. Bruce Lee was an icon, and every kid tried to mimic his moves after watching Enter the Dragon. Meanwhile, Godzilla, King Kong, and Creature from the Black Lagoon ruled the airwaves. Did you ever practice kung fu kicks in the backyard, convinced you could be the next Bruce Lee? Green stamps and trading. Them for prizes. Before digital rewards programs, families collected S and H green stamps, little stickers given out at grocery stores and gas stations. You'd paste them into booklets and trade them in for things like toasters, bikes, or radios. The freedom of riding in the back of a pickup truck. Back when seatbelt laws were more of a suggestion, kids piled into the beds of pickup trucks for rides to the local park, lake, or just around the neighborhood. The wind in your hair, the open road, it felt like the ultimate freedom. Were you ever part of a group of kids riding in the back of a truck, holding on tight when it hit a bump? The magic of the Sears Christmas catalog. The Sears wish book was every kid's dream during the holidays. You'd grab a marker, circle your favorite toys, Stretch Armstrong, Weebles, Spirograph, and then strategically leave the catalog open where your parents could see it, hoping they'd get the hint. The drive-through bank tubes that felt like sci-fi. Before ATMs, banks had drive-through teller tubes, pneumatic vacuum tubes that sucked your deposit up and sent back a receipt, and maybe a lollipop if you were lucky. It felt like something straight out of the Jetsons. Did you ever sit in the car watching the tube go up, secretly hoping it would shoot back down with a surprise treat? The joy of rolling down the car window manually. Before power windows, every car had those crank handles on the door. Rolling the window up or down wasn't a quick press of a button, it was an arm workout. And if you were in the back seat, you had to beg your parents to unlock the window so you could roll it down. School film strip days. The ultimate movie experience. Before classrooms had VCRs, teachers relied on film strips. They'd set up the big reel-to-reel projector, and we'd sit in excitement as the film crackled to life. Every few seconds, you'd hear a beep, a cue for the teacher or a lucky student to advance the strip. Were you ever chosen as the film strip operator for the day, feeling like you had the most important job in the classroom? Gas shortages and odd-even license plate days. In the mid-70s, gas shortages meant people could only fill up their cars on certain days, depending on their license plate number. Long lines stretched around gas stations, and sometimes you had to wait hours just to get a few gallons. Do you remember sitting in the car while your parents inched forward in a never-ending gas line? The thrill of a new TV guide issue. Back when there was no on-screen guide, every household relied on TV Guide. You'd flip through, circling shows you didn't want to miss. If a Charlie Brown special or The Wizard of Oz was airing, it was an event. You had to watch it live or wait a whole year to see it again. Candy bars for a dime and soda in glass bottles. Back in the 70s, a full-size candy bar cost around 10 cents, and a bottle of Coke or Pepsi came in a glass bottle that you returned for a deposit refund. Kids would dig through couch cushions for loose change just to score a treat from the local store. Did you ever collect empty soda bottles just so you could turn them in for a little spending money? The 1970s weren't just a decade, they were a feeling. A time of shag carpets, Bee Gees records, and the excitement of finding a new pack of Wacky Packages stickers. We played harder, watched TV with more anticipation, and lived life without the constant glow of screens. Sure, some things were a little dangerous. Hot metal slides, no helmets, and seatbelts being optional. But we made it through with great stories to tell. What about you? Did you roller skate every weekend or spend hours perfecting your clacker skills? Share your best 70s memories in the comments, and let's relive this groovy decade together.